Good morning, student. Today we will start new chapter, chapter 7, circulatory system. In our book, the chapter 7 is given chemical coordination plant, and in this year, that chapter is excluded by the ICSE board, so that our chapter 7 is circulatory system. That's chemical coordination plants. That's chapter we don't have to study. So let's start with the circulatory system. It is very important chapter, and I am to inform you that 5 to 7 marks questions surely comes from this chapter. 5 marks diagram based question and 2 marks of objective question surely comes from this chapter. So you have to study this chapter thoroughly. So let's start with the circulatory system. Living organisms need to move the substances into the cell or out of the cell or the neighboring cell through a transport system. In unicellular or simple multicellular organism, it is very simple. In unicellular organism like in amoeba, it occurs by the process of diffusion. But in higher animals, it is very complex, especially in human body. The blood circulates in human body through a system. That system is called circulatory system, and special organs involved in this system, and they are the blood. Blood circulates in the body of the human, and with the blood, lymph also circulates, and lymph and blood circulates the special nutrients and all the substances to through whole parts of the body, and in this way they makes the continuous channel communicating with all the living cells or all the living organs of the body. Now the special organs which involved in circulating the blood is heart, and it circulates in the vessel that is called the blood vessels, and the lymph circulates with the lymph vessels. Now let's start about the blood. Blood is alkaline red colored connective tissue, and it is very important. It is red in color. Why it is red in color? Because of the presence of hemoglobin. Now let's study the composition of the blood. It is made up of blood cells, and these blood cells are mixed with the liquid matrix that is called the plasma. Plasma is the liquid matrix, and it forms the 55% of the total content of the blood, and it is the composition of plasma. It is pale liquid color, and because of the presence of red blood cells, it is red in color. Now the composition of plasma is it has 90 to 95% of water in it, and 7 to 8% proteins, and 1% of the inorganic salts are present in the plasma. And without proteins, the special protein is the fibrinogen is present in it, and if plasma is without fibrinogen, that plasma is called serum. This is very important term, serum. What is serum? Plasma without fibrinogen is called serum. Now the blood cells. There are the 3 types of blood cells found in blood. It is red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and it forms the 45% of the total content of the blood. Now let's start with the red blood cells. There are several types of the WBC, white blood cells, but red blood cells is of single type. Let's start with the red blood cells. This is red blood cells. Red blood cells are minute biconcave disc-like structure, and these blood cells are the cytoplasm of this cell having no nucleus, and it also has a special protein. That protein is called hemoglobin. No, it is not protein, it is red colored pigment. It is made up of protein and iron. Globin is the protein and iron is the heme. Its name is hemoglobin. Heme means iron and globin is the name of the protein. And it is red in color, so that because of the presence of hemoglobin, These cells are red in color, hence its name is red blood cells. Its another name is also erythrocyte. So you have to learn this name also. Erythrocyte is the another name of red blood cells, and these blood cells are not having the nucleus, no mitochondria, and no endoplasmic reticulum is present in it, because they are not having nucleus in it, because of the absence of nucleus provides the it increase the large surface area for the absorption of oxygen, and the absence of mitochondria makes it that they cannot use the oxygen by themselves. And the third is the endoplasmic reticulum. Absence of endoplasmic reticulum makes it flexible for the easy circulation in the blood vessels. So these are the three reasons why these organelles are absent in red blood cells, and the question on this basis surely gave reason why nucleus, mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulums are absent in red blood cells. So these are the answer. It increases the absence of nucleus and increases the surface area for the oxygen absorption, and mitochondria, absence of mitochondria makes it to that they cannot use oxygen by themselves, and endoplasmic reticulum makes it flexible for the circulation. Now hemoglobin, what is the use of presence of hemoglobin in it? Hemoglobin has high efficiency towards the oxygen. When it reaches to the lungs, it combines with the oxygen and form the unstable compound oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin circulates throughout the body and provides oxygen to each cells of the body. The lifespan of red blood cells is 120 days, that is 4 months. About 3 millions per cubic 3 millions per cubic millimeter of red blood cells are destroyed every day, and these cells are destroyed in our liver or in spleen. They disintegrate or degenerate in our liver or in spleen, and 4 times of this number generate every day. These cells are produced in our bone marrow, in our femur bone. This is all about the red blood cells. The main function of red blood cells is to provide oxygen throughout the body cells. Now let's start with the white blood cells. These are the types of white blood cells. First of all, I will tell you about the white blood cells. These cells are larger in size than the red blood cells, and they are fewer in number than the red blood cells. Means their size is large, and in its structure it has nucleus in it, and they are fewer in number as compared to red blood cells, and these cells lacking the hemoglobin, so that they are white in color, not red in color. There are several types of white blood cells. On the basis of presence of granules in the cytoplasm, they are of 2 types: granulocyte and agranulocyte. Granulocyte, these are having granules in its nucleus, in its cytoplasm, and agranulocytes are not having the granules in their cytoplasm. These granulocytes having nucleus in lobed form, so that they are having two difference as compared to the agranulocytes. First is the cytoplasm of granulocytes are having granules in it, and the nucleus of granulocytes are lobed. So these are the 2 differences, and on the basis of function and shape of the nucleus, lobe of the nucleus, they are again classified into 3 categories: eosinophiles, basophiles and neutrophiles. And these are also on the basis of presence, on the basis of their function and shape of the nucleus. They are again classified into 2 types: monocytes and lymphocyte. Now start with the eosinophiles. Eosinophiles are having a orange red colored state. When they are while testing the blood, These eosinophiles stain orange red in color, and this staining of eosinophiles shows its affinity towards the acid, so that they are also called acidophiles. The nucleus of eosinophiles is bilobed, and these lobed nucleus is connected by the very minute fine threads. The total they are in 2 to 5% of total WBC count, and their function is to engulf the particles by antigen antibody reaction. Now basophiles shows the blue black staining while testing. So this color staining shows is affinity towards the base, and that's why they are called basophiles. The nucleus is more than 2 lobed, and their count in the WBC is 0.5 to 1%. The main function of basophile is they produce histamine and heparin, two types of protein. The function of histamine is to dilate the blood vessels for working the blood cells. And the second is the heparin. Heparin is the protein which prevents the clotting of the blood in the blood vessels, because platelets are present in the blood and platelets are responsible for the clotting. So why the blood is not clot in the blood vessel? Because of this heparin protein, and it is produced by the basophiles. Now the last one is the neutrophile. Neutrophile having more than 2 nucleus, they are called polymorphic, and they show while staining neutral dyes, so that they are called neutrophiles. They are neutral, not showing any color, and total 70% they are present in 70% of total WBC count. Their main function is to engulf the bacteria or a foreign particle. That process is called phagocytosis. I will explain you phagocytosis and diapedesis, two terms, while explaining the function of WBC. Now, the main function of neutrophile is to phagocytosis, means engulfing of the bacteria, and they are having amoeboid movement. They provide the amoeboid movement for the WBC. Now, A granulocyte. A granulocytes, first is the monocyte. Monocyte is having kidney-shaped nucleus, and they are present in 3 to 7% of the total WBC count. And lymphocyte, the lymphocytes are having 25% of total WBC count, and the main function of lymphocyte is to engulf bacteria, means they produce antibodies against the germ foreign particles, and in this way it provides immunity to the human body. This is all about the types of white blood cells. Now let's study the function of the WBC. The function of white blood cell. There are 3 functions of white blood cells. First is the formation of antibodies, and second is to defend the body against the inflammation, and third is the phagocytosis. Now, formation of antibodies. Lymphocyte produce antibodies which kills the germ or dilate or remove their harmful effect, and in this way it provides immunity to the human body. Next, to defend the body against the inflammation. Sometimes our skin shows the inflammation, and it is because of the tissue's reaction or germs, and in this condition white blood cells, because due to the process of diapedesis is the process in which protein histamine dilates the walls of the blood vessel. See, this is the blood vessel, and histamine dilates the walls of the blood vessel, and these white blood cells coming out. This process is called diapedesis, and in this way white blood cells coming out, and they protects the human body against the inflammation. Now, third is the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is engulfing of bacteria or any other germs and provide the immunity to the human body, especially neutrophil. Shows the phagocytosis process. In this process, phagocytosis process is because of the diapedesis movement, blood cells coming out and they engulf. See, this is diapedesis movement. It dilates, histamine dilates the walls of the blood vessel and white blood cells coming out. These are the bacteria. And phagocytosis. In this way, it engulfs, these are the foreign particles, it engulfs the bacteria and hence provide the protection against the germs or against any type of disease. In this way, these are the some functions. White blood cells is very important cell for the human body because it provides protection, it provides immunity against the diseases. But increased number of WBC is very harmful for the humans because it causes the leukemia. The another name of leukemia is the blood cancer. So increased number of WBC is very harmful, and its absence is also very harmful. Its decreased number is also very harmful. They must be present in moderate amount so that they provide immunity to our body. Now the third cell is the platelets. Third cell is the platelets. The another name of platelets is thrombocyte. Their count in our body, in our blood, is 2 lakh to 4 lakh per cubic millimeter of blood, and their lifespan is 3 to 5 days. Their presence is very important in our body because they are responsible for the clotting of the blood while injury. When the body of the human, when the human body injured, the blood is coagulated, and it is coagulated because of the presence of platelets. If it is not coagulated, then whole due to the severe bleeding, it causes death. So platelets are very important. They are non-nucleated small cells, colorless, present in the blood, and they are formed in the red bone marrow. This is all about the platelets. The main function of the platelets is to clotting. It provides clotting while injury. Now, how coagulation takes place, we will study. Blood coagulation. What is blood coagulation? Clotting on the blood is called blood coagulation. Most of the people cut or scratch time to time, and yet we do not bleed to death because blood contains self-sealing material, and that plugs leaks. This sealing material is always present in the blood in inactive form, that is called the fibrinogen. And when there is cut or injury occurs, then this fibrinogen occurs, shows in active form, that is called the fibrin. Fibrin is the network of the blood fibers, and it plugs the leaks, and so that there is no bleeding occurs because of the injury. There are several steps involved in the coagulation of the blood, and these steps are very important. These steps mostly comes in the examination. There are 3 steps: step 1, step 2, and step 3. I will explain you. First, injured cells or injured tissue and the platelets. As soon as the body injured, their platelets combines with the injured tissue and form the thrombokinase enzyme. Thrombokinase enzyme converts the prothrombin, protein present in the blood, into the thrombin. Thrombin is the active form of the prothrombin. Means thrombokinase converts prothrombin with calcium ions into the thrombin, and thrombin is the active form of the prothrombin, and this thrombin converts the soluble fibrinogen into fibrin. Fibrin is the insoluble material, and so that it plugs leaks. So in this way there are 3 steps. In first step, injured tissue plus platelets form the thrombokinase, and this thrombokinase enzyme converts inactive prothrombin into active form of thrombin and with the calcium ions. And this thrombin converts fibrinogen, soluble fibrinogen into fibrin. This is the chart and this is the steps. In this way blood coagulates in human body. In next class I will explain you about the structure of heart. Till then, thank you.